Hi, I'm Amaiis Salles, and I'm very excited to be here. I'm glad to be here with you, and thank you, Elizabeth Ocean, for this opportunity to share my little corner of the universe. Are you here today because you're ready to stop ping-ponging between self-sacrifice and self-sabotage? I wonder if, like me, you're noticing that the word intuition has just become too small to describe what you know today. Are you a fireproof woman? Are you a fireproof woman in training? Let's consider your accomplishments, values, and the rules that your family origin story may have used to silence you or hold you hostage to being their steady supply of life force family pride. Can you immediately sense today when your external boundaries are being assaulted? Or how about when you're leaking energy internally, fending off attempts to co opt your creativity or trigger your self doubt? Who in your family can drop kick you with a word into wondering if your goals and creativity have any value at all to anyone but you? Being a fireproof woman means that you are no longer prone to asking why person X, Y, or Z relates to you in a way that requires self sacrifice or self sabotage. For 33 years, it's been my mission to share or transmit the enormous transformative divine feminine power that is at least one half of our human experience. Well, let's ponder for a minute. Do you know when you have those times in your life where there is absolutely no forward motion that makes any sense in your personal life or in your business world, or both? When you feel suspended or stalled or spiraling in reverse, just plain stuck in yuck. You know that change is calling you, but calling you to what? Well, as a fireproof woman, I'm going to stand strong with you to let you know that there are times when life wants a whole lot more from you, but you don't understand this yet because you don't know who that you is. That's the who you will become. So, this is the fantastic experience that I had when a little whisper became an opportunity for me in 1991 when the Soviet Union was collapsing. I had been teaching energy healing for some time, and I took my funds from those classes. I got a journalist's visa. I loaded up 6 packages of humanitarian supplies on a Finnair flight, and I landed in Moscow in November of 1991, not knowing anyone or how to speak the language, trusting that I would be met at the airport and all would unfold beautifully, and it did. Now, during that time, I was very fortunate to be invited into 2 hospitals, Institute, and there was a men's burn ward in that hospital, and they took in accidents, industrial accidents, and critically burned men on that ward. And I worked on that ward for 6 weeks. I volunteered. And I worked alongside doctors in hospitals in their debriding procedures and tending to a group of patients that were assigned to me for that period of time of 6 weeks. I went back a second year, 1992, and again in 1993, and I built a beautiful collaboration. And the results of my hands-on energy healing work were medically verified by the physicians who were actually quite astonished. Precision healing, quantum connections, eventually led me, after this kind of experience in 13 countries and around the world on panels and at conferences, speaking with notables whose names you would recognize. Then I moved on to develop my own health and wellness practice in addition to Living Lessons Library, which is my nonprofit foundation. And I've been teaching hands-on energy since 1991 And I've been doing life coaching since then. And that was before life coaching was a career or a path or a profession. So I'm really very well grounded in what I do and how I do it. Yes, but I've also, probably like many of you, many more years to develop the energetic coherence that I have today, to transmute all the self-doubt, to clear feeling trapped and tripped up, to transmute my origin story of self-sacrifice, to open up completely to my soul memory and heart clarity that brought me all the clairs. I'm clairsentient, clairvoyant, clairaudient. I can even smell energy, and I've brought fragrances of roses into my environments where I'm teaching. And it's taken a while to destroy the patterns of self-sabotage. Now, I was doing all of this before life coaching was available. I had to learn from the inside out, from my own DNA. So here's what I would suggest that we consider today. You're a fireproof woman. You are unstoppable, which means that whatever comes your way, you're going to get up and find a way to keep moving. No matter how discouraged you may feel, or at times feeling unstable or unsupported, you're going to find your way because you and your DNA are fully connected to that energy that I call source. You're unstoppable. You are open to receiving your DNA birthright gifts, as I was, which means that the possibilities for you to regenerate and bounce back are just amazing. And people sometimes wonder at your ability to do this, and sometimes they're jealous and they can be resentful even too. I've had that experience. But here's the one thing I'd like you to take away today. Everything is energy, first, last, and always. So working in my world of quantum entanglements and DNA activation and having all the clairs, I know how possible it is to de-story what's going on in your energy field that isn't serving you, and how to rewrite that story, and how when you're able to learn how to do the energy work on your own and with some support, that there are timeline shifts. You end up literally on different time tracks. And so you experience different outcomes on those time tracks. And usually they're pretty subtle. Sometimes they're really incredibly beautiful. And it just feels like you've just had the most incredible stroke of good luck. This is when you're becoming the kaleidoscope of consciousness that you are meant to be. So I want to ask you today, because we don't have a lot of time, what is the most powerful question in the English language? It's important to understand what I call my 9 essential questions method is, and how it can bring such tremendous value to your everyday life when you learn how to combine asking the right questions with a really very specific knowledge about your own energy field. That's more than 7 embodied chakras that you might learn about in a yoga class. Well, my question when I was 24 and on the verge of dying from an undiagnosed illness, I had a 3-year-old son, and I just moved into my dream home with my husband. And the question for me, as I was growing weaker and sicker with no diagnosis, was what is really going on here? Well, the situation first developed after feeling unwell for a year, and that year having passed without conceiving a second child. Then an excruciating medical test revealed that I wouldn't be able to have another child because both of my fallopian tubes were completely occluded. Now, my 3-year-old son was the light of my life, and I was looking forward to being a mom to 5 more children and living in the country and returning to my roots of being an artist with gifts that were given to me when I was very young. So having this dream utterly shattered was devastating. But fortunately, the underlying illness was finally diagnosed. There was medication that might possibly address what was a systemic, potentially deadly fungal infection, but there was no guarantee that I would survive. as one kidney had already started to shut down. From inner guidance, completely from within, because what I'm doing now with you and what I began doing then in I was 24, is a long time ago. None of this, what we call today consciousness raising or transcendental experience or mind shift strategies or technological devices to track our neurocircuitry, none of this was available. I had to do this with my own cellular material. I'm still doing it. And it's free when I do it myself. And I've learned how to do it, and I do it daily. So when I was that sick is when I first asked the first essential question of the 9 essential life-changing questions that have opened up into precision energy process that is now the basis of my 9 essential questions method and brilliant resilience. So I got past the phase of why am I dying really fast, because what I wanted to know was the truth of why I was dying. It was just too bizarre a circumstance. And I knew there was an underlying message for me, and I needed to understand and decode that message. Truth was all my body would allow me at that time to hear, to see, to know. And so I kept asking for it. What is really going on here? Well, I got the answers in spades. Well, I had to ask another question, and I asked, what if I could heal? And then it was through asking these questions that I realized, in looking back at major incidents in my life, we all have them, but one of them, the most profound one for me, was nearly drowning at 5, was that I realized that I had a jealous mother and that she didn't love me. She loved what I brought into her house as a worthy reflection of who she longed to be. She loved my creativity and knitting and sewing, and I didn't need patterns. She had really, really admired my fearlessness, even beyond not allowing myself to be controlled by her physical abuse and intimidation. And I realized as I was taking the medication and hoping I would survive, but no one saw me. No one had seen me, the full real me, after I nearly drowned at age 5. No one except my dear young son, who could and received love without any barriers. It's most extraordinary to be his mom. Well, that was a mic drop. What was I doing with these other people? Always giving them 100% of my personal best while I received what? Superficial attention, not so great quality time, money. And the message was carry on per 80% of our family values and we'll tolerate you and stay connected. Carry on with 40% of our family values or less, so we won't support you or who you choose to be. Well, that isn't love. I have a checklist for you because if you're the child of a jealous mother, you need to know this. And you need to know what origin story you have inherited from your birth mother that's running your DNA template purpose in reverse and in lockdown. So this is what I went through. And then I began to really feel that there was some really very strong part of me. And she became what I call a Fireproof Woman. So if this is you now and your entire being is the question, what is really going on here? And what if with family, with friends and community? Well, that's awesome. Obviously, I didn't die. And I want to share with you that my list of what I survived is long, but my list of what I survived and now thrive through and with such gratitude is a much longer list. So there's nothing high woo-woo about the energy upgrade that your body is thrilled to receive and that you release the embedded DNA coding of masochism and self-sacrifice to serve others. The choice to enact self-sabotage is just a conditioned response to a number of origin story dynamics, including a jealous mother or an absent father, that is mucking with your purposeful DNA awakening adventure. Well, now that you're fully aware that your mind's place on your powertrain is not in the lead as the ego engine, or even in second chakra position as a narcissist frightened freight car, or always coming in third place baggage car, or even in fourth place as a submissive passenger car, your mind's place in your individual life is as the caboose on your powertrain, because all it ever has is a view of what is past and never what's ahead. So I'm going to encourage you to pay attention to feeling, focus, form as you choose to gain a fundamental understanding of the entire 15 chakra human energy field, not just the 7 body chakras. And when you come into this kind of awareness, you will begin to recognize when the no field, and this is my depiction of it, is generating resistance and drag and reversals in your life that your mind can't help you work your way out of. You can't think your way out of this energy field. You can't think your way out of self-sacrifice and self-sabotage, even with therapy, because the pattern is laid down in your energy field. And talking therapy won't touch that, and even psychedelic therapy can't handle all of that in a way that's healthy and easy to integrate. It's quite the job to be a full-fledged human being. And then this is what I call when you get stuck in the sobs. That's short for sacrificial, overgiving belief system from the no field of drama and trauma that is the slow, chronic burn of overwhelm, chaos, stress, and inner resistance that we all encounter in our lives living here on good old planet Earth. So what you're able to do with knowing more fully who you are and understanding your full energy field and your origin story and creating your map of where all the major dots and even the little dots connect, you then move into pattern, reveal, and disrupt. That is inspired by your heart, your soul, your spirit, and the energy and co-creation of all of life. So then you have no resistance, and you can see these two shapes that are sort of floating above the black cube. No yes field, and you can see that concentric circle with the word bliss written on it. And this is where you will move through that tunnel into your own clear DNA patterns in a clear and clean template. And then you'll have no resistance to the incoming flow of source sparked energies that disarm mama drama and heal jealous mama drama trauma and all the rest that's hidden in your origin story. So on the verge of death and losing all that mattered to me then, I felt the impact of the no field on my life, my money, my time, my health, my relationships, and the love that I had in my life and didn't have, and could actually see that what was coming at me was lots of things, but it wasn't love. And then I began to feel the flowing system of astonishing inner wisdom and infrasound energy that penetrated my entire body. This is the unconditional love that is our birthright bliss. The inner intangible prescriptions that my body instructed me. I literally was being shown PowerPoint presentations from within myself telling me exactly, do this, do this, do this, do this now, do this when, do this. None of this was available in mainstream at this time, but I listened. And those inner prescriptions included not only life as a creator and an artist again, but I did conceive another child with a pregnancy and labor and delivery that was 100% normal. Although when that youngster was just not 2 years old, we had to work through his diagnosis of juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. It's usually a lifelong sentence of pain and suffering, but we cleared him of that in 4 months using what I learned from working within my own illness and what I now work with as the 9 essential questions. So, are you ready to dissolve any energy that's in the way of connecting with a powerful, healthy, enriching, and safe space where you can survive and thrive and move forward? What's up with this? And what's the process? And the three DNA genetic keys that you learn when you work with me are this combination of asking, listening, and receiving, and knowing what question to ask, when, and how to use your energy field and your body to listen, and then how to set up the receiving of all that's meant for you. The truth and the sound of you becoming fireproof.